Hello, brethren. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to talk about religion today, especially Christian gospel. That's where I'm going to dwell today. My topic, the theme, the grammar, the agenda of my speech is going to be rooted in Christian gospel. Christian gospel, it is made by brethren, congregants, people who label themselves as Christians. They are the one who make it to be so freaking weak in a larger degree, far by extension. What do I mean by this? Christian gospel is very weak. It is made by brethren and congregants. Christianity, Christians, it is made by Christians to be weak. Why am I saying this? Christian religion, it is very futile. It is very weak. Why am I saying this? There are principles, there are protocols, there are procedures in which people should walk by. There is a Bible that instructs and constricts and prohibits what to be done, what not to be done. But the very same congregants, the very same brethren that claims to be Christians are the one who makes this gospel to be very weak. They jeopardize, they decimate the true integrity of gospel. There is no sincerity in gospel today. Everyone is trying to hide in this thing called favor, mercy. They misuse mercy. They misuse favor. They misuse the gospel of grace. That is why, don't get me wrong, before you freak out, let me explain. That is why I've got some elements of resentment towards the gospel of grace. If I could see a preacher that is more dwelling in the gospel of grace, it cringes me. I become very furious and angry because, I don't think the gospel of grace should be preached, especially to people who've been brethren, people who've been like brethren, who've been congregants, who've been Christians for almost about like more than maybe 7 to 10 years. Why should you use grace? Replace grace by principles of Christian movement, of Christian principles. Follow Christian principles more than the principles of grace within the gospel of Christianity. And then there are some other smart people who will try to justify this and say, with their cognizance, intellectual thinking capacity, to say, why do we choose principles over grace? Because grace is also part of the gospel, but it jeopardizes, guys. It makes it so flexible. It makes it so complex. That is why everyone could easily claim that she's a Christian. Like, for instance, you can go to the club and become a whore and sell pussy there the whole night, and then tomorrow morning you go to church and label yourself as a Christian. What kind of Delilah are you? You're going to go to clubs, acting so coquettish, trying to wear these amorous, coquettish clothes, in order to lure, to entice guys to come to you, or even sell pornography, or whatever the case may be. Drink alcohol, have a pretty party, gallivanting and everything. That is not allowed. The principles of gospel, it actually isolates brethren from participating in those instances. So you've got to the guts, to stand firm and say, in spite of all, irrespective of whatever, but I'm a Christian. Bullshit. Let's call spade and spade. Without fear of prejudice, I won't beat around the bush. I'm just going to be blunt with you. I'm going to be very crystal clear, quite frankly, in a nutshell, that even if people can transgress from Christian principles, you could see that things have gone far away from the rails, but people still have the guts, still have the audacity, to say, in spite of all these transgression that I've made, but at the very same time, I'm still a Christian. Who is holy? Blah, blah, blah. There's nobody who's perfect. Stone him, or whatever the case may be. No. Don't justify your mischievous iniquities with the gospel of grace. Most of Christian, I don't think they could be pure Christian today if grace was not there. And then they are very smart. They're going to say, yeah, that's why there is grace. Let us replace grace by following Christian principles. It's very contra, to find Christians, gallivanting, partying, drinking alcohols. All of these things are prohibited. These things are constricted, There are constraints within the Bible that constrict, that prohibit what's to be done, what's not to be done. And then these people will go the extra mile because their last hope is grace. They've made this gospel to be so freaking weak. It is extremely weak in a larger degree. There is no sincerity in the gospel of Christianity. There is no integrity anymore. You even find homosexual people in the podium, in the altar, praising. They are like worshippers. How would you connect people if you disagree with the principles of Christian gospel? Because it doesn't allow people to be homosexual. And even the pastors, the leaders of the church, the board members could literally see in a naked eyes. It is so blatantly clear that this particular individual is homosexual, but he has the guts to be behind mics and start worshiping songs and connect these people spiritually to God. What's that? What is that? There is no sincerity in gospel. There is no truth. There is no authenticity of the gospel. Gospel is saltless. Christian gospel, it is saltless, and it is made by brethren and the congregants, people that fellowships in that specific area. They are the ones who are making the gospel to be so freaking weak. I lost trust in the gospel. I used to be a Christian, but today, from now on and so forth, I'll never label myself as a Christian. No, because I know that I'm no longer following Christian principles in accordance with what it says. Most of the things that I do is a little bit conflating with its principles. So what does that tell you? If you have a religion but you don't follow its principles, then automatically you jeopardize that religion. You're no longer having religion. It is already obliterated by that act. Religion has its principles, has its protocol, procedure. And if you don't follow those things, of which you don't have a religion, Christian people, they can easily say they are Christian. Tomorrow morning you wake up, you go gallivanting, partying, having multiple partners, dating before marriage, which is one of the things that is being restricted by the Christian principles. But they go the extra mile, far by extension, confidently so, doing things that are detriment to this very same gospel. Gospel should be protected by brethren and congregants, but they are the ones who are like jeopardizing it. They are decimating it. They are destroying the gospel because they know too much. Cognizance, intellectual thinking capacity. They reason for their sin, and they misuse grace for their sin to qualify to be holy, or it maintains them to have this label of being Christianity. You've killed the gospel. A homosexual person standing in the podium, in the altar, starting worshiping songs, connecting people of God to God, while he's not even following a very precise, a very basic principle of Christianity, because it dismantles, it lambasts homosexuality. But you find these people like praising God, they're even crying, literally tears, because they think they're connecting to the spirit. Which spirit are you connected on to? I'm sorry guys, but gospel is literally death. I'm so thankful to those who are still standing upright, who are righteous, who are striving for perfection, people who are striving at their level best of their potential to be holy. Thank you very much to those. Let me stop here. Kusho mina ke uhlala emthini njengenyoni umshana kanzima nogwajobhajwa ikhulule madoda iqala iqilo qala la igothe emhlanje ibhubesi elizingela lodwa sutha wonke chitha umcimbi uzojeza.